We're at the end of an empire right now. It is the end. It's the end of this. And all empires always come to an end. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, Chinese were the earliest. Chinese were the first guys to use paper.
Right.
So what we're looking at today is the end of the American Empire. So it's a very dangerous time. It's explosive, with Palestine and Gaza. All the stuff that's going on is an end of times. Not biblical, but just an end of an era. And the trouble when this comes to an end, war follows. That's what I'm afraid of. So in 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. What does that mean? We could print as much money as we could. That meant the only way the economy could expand was through debt and taxes. Okay? If you understand that, so that's why when the American consumer got racked up with debt and the US government is racked up in debt, the next person that wanted the money were the teachers' unions. And so that's why Obama passed that student loan stuff. And now our young people are strapped in debt because that's the only way the economy can expand is through debt. So we screw our young people, then they accuse people like me of being a conspiracy theorist. But I studied history. So this was 1964. That used to be real silver. Now it's fake silver. So then 1971, this was backed by gold and silver. And then Nixon took it off. This became debt. That's one of the most important things because now it became debt. For me to get rich, I had to use debt. But what do our schools teach us? Stay out of debt. That's how stupid school teachers are. Debt makes guys like you and me rich. And ironically, because we use debt, we don't pay any taxes. You know, taxes are very high here in London, very high in America. But real estate guys like Trump and I, we don't pay taxes legally. And so the young people who are listening right now, they're saying, but that's what my mom and dad said. But that's what mom and dad say all over the world. So to the young people, I just say challenge or question what you've been taught. Because from the Bible, I'm not religious, the word becomes flesh. So if you say, go to school, and you say, but I learned nothing about money. Get a job, you become an employee.
Yeah.
If you're an employee, you work for money. I pay taxes. Then they tell you to save money. Why would you save money when the government's printing money? You know, and get out of debt. Well, debt is money. I use debt to get rich. Most people use debt to get poor and invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. My poor dad, rich dad, poor dad, it's a story of a Marxist versus a capitalist. You know, my poor dad was an academic type. He was a PhD, which stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. You know, he was a smart guy. He was in school all the time. He knew all the answers to everything. But he didn't know anything about this here. And my rich dad was a man who had no school, and he ran the family store. So as a boy of 13, he began learning about money. And he started saying, he says, the mistake is our schools teach us to work for this, not this. And what is lesson number one in Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Rich people don't work for money.
And so when your school system says you get a job, what are you doing?
You become a slave.
You work for money.
Exactly.
And what's wrong with working for money?
That it makes you come back to work and you become a slave.
You pay taxes.
And you pay taxes, of course.
And then they tell you to save money. Why would you save money when they're printing money?
Everybody's printing money now.
Why would you save money when they're printing money?
I know you don't save money. You're building businesses.
Why would you save money when they're printing money?
Because you didn't, I don't know.
Because that's what you've been told to do.
Of course.
So question that. I'm a capitalist. I don't have a job. I don't have a paycheck. It's so opposite because that was my rich dad teaching me, and my poor dad said, get a safe, secure job. So the the mindsets are completely opposite.
Yeah.
And so that's why, excuse me, when I was watching your program and you're telling me about your dad says become a doctor, I was just cracking up because Asian culture were Asians.
Yeah.
You know? And the most important thing is you become a doctor, and then I'm flunking out of school left and right because I'm a dumb shit. And then my mother says, my mother was a registered nurse. She says, oh, they call me Bobby. Bobby, become a doctor. My father says, he's a dumb shit. He's flunking out of school. I flunked out of school twice because I can't read and write. Now, ironically, my book is Rich Dad Poor Dad is number 20 in the world.
You can't read or write, yet you're a best-selling author.
Correct. It's not that I couldn't read or write. The teacher didn't like what I said. What I wrote, why is debt tax-free?
I don't know.
Because that's how money is created. And so the banks love it. They love people borrow lots of money. So how do I get rich? I borrow money and I buy assets with it. The poor person borrows money and buys liabilities like purses, cars, houses, and they get poorer and poorer and poorer. But I use debt. I borrowed $300 million after the crash, dollars. In 2000, by 2010, I had borrowed $300 million to buy real estate that made me rich. And the interest rates kept coming down, so that my cost of money kept coming down. And so everybody else is saying, oh, you should get out of debt. You know why? Because they don't question the hypnosis they're under. You've been hypnotized to work hard for money, to save it. The fractional reserve system prints it. And then you pay taxes after taxes. So I have all this debt and I get rich. So the question is, how do you learn to use debt to get rich? Because they tell you not to get out of debt. So all I'm saying to you is, if a person does not question what they've been taught, they will always be poor. They've been hypnotized into being poor. Then you put it in the stock market, in pensions, right? So let's say I put $100 in a pension plan. When do I get that money back?
Most Romanians don't even dream of getting to pension now.
I understand that. But it's not just Romanians, please hear, it's worldwide. This is why I think, this is why I work, this is why I teach. You have to question what they're teaching you. So I put my money in a pension. I might not ever get it back because they could lose it. So the question I always say is, well, when do I get my money back? But unfortunately, with artificial intelligence coming in and replacing more and more people, soon Uber drivers will be out of jobs too.
Because of Tesla and all these other ones that are creating,
driverless cars. So all the truck drivers and all this, they're out of work.
Which is the biggest category of employment in the USA. I think that's right.
What's it, truck drivers?
Drivers, biggest employment category.
It's the biggest category for men.
Yeah.
You see all these men who are, John Wayne and Tarzan and Rambo.
Yeah.
They're going to be out of work. It's up to the person. It's a free choice. You want to be an employee, you choose to be an employee. You want to be an entrepreneur, you choose to be an entrepreneur, but you've got to study. They're two different people. What you have to study is different. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they're different people. An entrepreneur is extremely different than an employee. But it's a different study. The trouble is our school system trains us to be employees. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay your taxes, get out of debt, and invest in the stock market. That makes you poor.